In this video, I'm going to be talking about the biggest mistake in The Lord of the Rings. And before everybody goes crazy and starts throwing tomatoes and rotten lettuce at me, I want to make one thing very clear. The Lord of the Rings is my all-time favorite movie. I believe it to be inspiring. I believe it teaches powerful lessons about courage, friendship, and loyalty. I believe The Lord of the Rings makes this world a better place. So what is the biggest flaw in The Lord of the Rings? Most people would say, oh, it's the Eagles. The Eagles should have taken the ring to Mordor. And respectfully, I disagree. I think the Eagles would have been corrupted by the One Ring, just like the men and elves were. So what is the biggest mistake in the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy? It is when the army of the dead saves the day at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. So first of all, the ghosts are cool, right? Who doesn't love an army of undead ghosts coming in and wreaking havoc upon your enemy? It's kind of cool. But does it hit deep? Does it stir the heart? Compare that scene to when Rohan comes over the hill at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. When King Theoden is yelling death and you see the horse army ride into battle, it is emotional. You feel it in your heart. And I don't feel that way when the ghosts arrive. Sure, it feels cool, I'll grant you that, but it doesn't stir the heart like the Ride of the Rohirrim does. The ghosts are indestructible. They cannot die. So there is no sense of sacrifice. There's no sense of courage that we feel with the Ride of the Rohirrim. And we don't really know the ghosts. We haven't felt their struggles and their pain like we have with the Rohirrim. But when the Rohirrim rides into battle, they are showing great amounts of bravery, courage, and sacrifice. King Theoden's battle cry is death. He knows many of them are going to die, right? That stirs you. The sacrifice. The Rohirrim are filled with characters we know. Éomer, Éowyn, King Theoden, and Merry. They are all afraid in their own way, and they are all trying to be courageous. The courage that is shown is amazing. And I don't feel that with the Army of the Ghosts. Another problem with the Army of the Dead is that their arrival undermines the sacrifices and the deaths of the Rohirrim. Because they're so indestructible, they easily kill everything. So it begs the question, why did the Rohirrim even come in the first place? Did King Theoden need to die?
I live inside my own.
The sheer might and power of the Army of the Dead also beg questions like, why didn't they just continue on to Mordor? If they're willing to travel all the way up the Anduin River to Minas Tirith, couldn't they just have gone to Mordor and killed all the orcs there? And you get Reddit threads like this. So what is the solution? I believe that they should have followed what happened in the book. And what happened in the book is Minas Tirith calls for aid. And they say, everybody in Gondor come to Minas Tirith, we are being attacked. But many people in southern Gondor cannot come because they're being attacked by the pirates of Umbar. Also what's different in the book is that when Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli go through the Mountains of the Dead, Dunedain Rangers go with them, which I think is super cool. Aragorn summons the Army of the Dead, just like the movies, and they attack the pirate ships, also just like the movies. The difference is, though, the oath of the Army of the Dead only required them to fight one battle. So after they fight the pirates of Umbar, Aragorn releases them from their oath. Then, men from southern Gondor use the ships of the pirates that they were about to defend against, and they sail up the Anduin River to Minas Tirith. And so in the books, when Aragorn arrives at the Battle of Pelennor Fields, he's not accompanied by ghosts, but instead by a bunch of Dunedain Rangers and an army from southern Gondor. Also, after Aragorn arrives, the battle is still hard fought. It is not an easy victory. Every death mattered. Every sacrifice was important. Here is a passage from the book.
"The corsairs of Umbar," men shouted. "The corsairs of Umbar! Look! The corsairs of Umbar are coming! So Belfalis is taken, and the Aether, and Lebenin is gone. The corsairs are upon us. It is the last stroke of doom." The Rohirrim indeed had no need of news or alarm. All too well they could see for themselves the black sails. For Éomer was now scarcely a mile from the Harlond, and a great press of his foes was between him and the haven there. Now he looked to the river, and hope died in his heart. But the hosts of Mordor were enheartened, and filled with a new lust and fury they came yelling to the onset. Stern now was Éomer's mood. He let blow the horns to rally all men to his banner that could come thither. For he thought to make a great shield wall at the last, and stand, and fight there on foot till all fell, and do deeds of song on the fields of Pelennor, though no man should be left in the west to remember the last king of the Mark. And lo, even as he laughed at despair, he looked out again on the black ships, and he lifted up his sword to defy them. And then wonder took him, and a great joy. Upon the foremost ship a great standard broke, and the wind displayed it as she turned towards the Harlond. There flowered a white tree, and that was for Gondor. But 7 stars were about it, and a high crown above it, the signs of Elendil that no lord had borne for years beyond count. And the stars flamed in the sunlight, for they were wrought of gems by Arwen, daughter of Elrond, and the crown was bright in the morning, for it was wrought of mithril and gold. Thus came Aragorn, son of Arathorn, Elessar, Isildur's heir, out of the paths of the dead, borne upon a wind from the sea to the kingdom of Gondor. The hosts of Mordor were seized with bewilderment, and a great wizardry it seemed to them that their own ship should be filled with their foes, and a black dread fell on them, knowing that the tides of fate had turned against them, and their doom was at hand. For now men leapt from the ships to the quays of the Harlond, and swept north like a storm. There came Legolas, and Gimli wielding his axe, and Halbarad with a standard, and Elladan and Elrohir with stars on their brow, and the door-handed Dunedain, rangers of the north, leading a great valour of the folk of Lebenin and Lamedon and the fiefs of the south. But before all went Aragorn with the flame of the west, Andúril like a new fire kindled, Narsil reforged as deadly as of old, and upon his brow was the star of Elendil.
I love how that plays out in the book. First of all, because the army isn't all-powerful, it makes the sacrifice of the Rohirrim and the death of King Theoden and the men at Minas Tirith more valuable. It gives more meaning to their sacrifices. In addition to that, the presence of the Dunedain Rangers brings the book in full circle back to the Fellowship of the Ring. We hear about the Dunedain Rangers, at the Prancing Pony, and the fact that these Rangers are coming to Gondor's aid with Aragorn is pretty epic. In addition to that, the fact that the reinforcements are from southern Gondor is really, really cool to me. Soldiers from Gondor are much more personable and relatable than the army of the ghosts are. And so it makes the overall victory and the overall battle much more satisfying and much more fulfilling. But what do you think? Do you agree? Or do you like the army of the ghosts better? Let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for your time today. Also, I'd like to give my respects to the actor Bernard Hill. I just found out today that he passed away last week. He is the actor who played King Theoden, and I think he did an absolutely phenomenal job.